All right. Hello, peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to Voices of the Millennials. I am your host, Elle de Lyon. Some call me LD Lion, and I'm okay with it. And I make pretty dope art right here at Afro Beat Music Talk Radio. You are listening right now to Love Bay Online Music Talk Radio. And we play the best in Afro beats, and we also do some talk with millennials that are from the Afro Caribbean community. And you may have noticed that I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, and I was taking some vacay time, but I am very, very grateful and excited to be back. I'm really excited to introduce you to the topic that we're talking about today. You already know what it is. This is another elevated conversation talking about the breakdowns and breakthroughs with millennials from the African Caribbean communities. All right, today is like none other. We have another fabulous guest with us, and I want to get right into this and let you know about this individual who's going to be joining us. And then I want to let you know a little bit about what's been going on with me over here at Love Bay and some of the exciting things that are coming up before our guest joins us here in the studio. And actually, let's reverse that order. Let me tell you about some of the cool things that have been happening, and then I'm going to tell you about the guest. It's going to be a good segue, I promise. Okay. So, first of all, one of the exciting things that I've been working on, as you know, for some of the listeners who have been here for a while, I am an event organizer. I organize community events in the arts, culture, and wellness, entertainment, culture, all those kind of fields. That's where you can find the events and experiences and programs that I manage and direct. Right. So, one of those really amazing, cool things that I get to do, I'm so honored to have recently been brought on to the Nuit Blanche. So, Nuit Blanche is a big exhibit that happens every year. It's a 12-hour exhibit that happens right here in Toronto. And they've recently branched out to other boroughs that are close to Toronto, and there's all these different activations that happen in different buildings. Some of them usually house art, some of them do not. But all of them will be opened to display and exhibit art for 12 hours only. So it's 12-hour exhibit that you get to come see, and it only stays up for that time. I can say that some of the exhibits do live on past that time. I had a chance to curate some of them in the past, but this year I am working with North Love Arts, and the theme of Nuit Blanche is called Breaking Ground. And Nuit Blanche, for the first year ever, has prioritized working with BIPOC individuals. So that means that individuals who are Black and Indigenous from those communities, they have put in extra funding and extra time and energy into making sure that those artists' projects get on the big stage. And so I'm happy to say that working with North Love Arts, Madewell Productions, that's my event company. Event and project management is our specialty. So we will be curating an art exhibit. And this art exhibit is going to be a little different because on in the Dawn on the Danforth, which is where the venue is going to be. And if you follow me on social media, you'll see all of this stuff that I'm talking about. Okay. So, that being said, the venue is called Dawn on the Danforth, and they have three different levels. We will be activating all the different levels of this building. One of the floors is going to be a 12-hour music concert with over 25 artists that are going to be displaying their art every single hour. There will be at least an artist displaying their art to the crowd. The audience is welcome to come. It's going to be amazing. Check it out. And then the second floor, or really it's the bottom floor in this building, is going to be this art exhibit. So 12-hour art exhibit with live demonstrations. There's some really cool demonstrations that are going to be happening. And in the next coming weeks, I'm excited to say that we are opening up a call for submissions. So we are looking for food vendors, and we are looking for art vendors. So art vendors can be anyone who wants to display their art. It can be in any format. So let us know. There's a link that you can follow on my bio if you go to Madewell.productions on IG. You can find it there, or North Love Arts on IG. You can follow either one of us and you will find that information. And this next guest that I'm going to be bringing on is actually one of the artists that is going to be applying for this opportunity. And we're going to talk to Jasmine Swimmer. See, she came in right on time. Jasmine is good. We're going to be speaking to Jasmine about her experience in applying, as well as some other things. As you know, we want to know about the breakdowns and the breakthroughs. How did you get from, like, sometimes the worst things that have happened in your life to the best things that have happened? And I definitely selected Jasmine on purpose, intentionally, because she has an amazing story that I think is going to inspire us all. And I'm really excited to sit down with her again and find out what's new, because we chatted in January, I think it was. You were on an amazing panel with a bunch of amazing entrepreneurs. So now here we are again. You are creative, you are a business owner, you are a fabulous queen who is doing amazing things, a family woman as well. You are doing it all. So I want to know how you do this all. All right.
Oh, thank you so much, Elle. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, my journey has definitely been unconventional, I must say. I think I didn't really have, I've always been a creative person in general. Um, if not creating some creative clothes or graphic design, something of that nature, I was always in that mode of creation. Um,
Mhm.
and during the pandemic was kind of my time where I had a really big reset, where I'm like, okay, I have time to do all the things that I always push back. Like, one day when I'm like financially stable, I'll like, retreat and just like paint or create art. I had the time to do it. So simultaneously, I became a new mom and I had a whole bunch of hours on my time, a whole bunch of hours available. So that's kind of where I dived into learning about like Web3, NFTs, digital art, digital murals. And yeah, at first there was a lot of self teaching, YouTube, Skillshare, taking courses, downloading the software and trying things myself. And then I did a program with Artworks TO, and then I went to OCAD and actually did a course and got a certificate to do a few different things, but really focusing on digital art. And yeah, it kind of spiraled into what it is today, where I started doing just independent work where I'm like, okay, after this program, I'm just going to, use the leverage with one organization, which was City of Toronto. And I was just going to leverage more contracts for them. Like, hey, like, I'm going to shop around, I'm going to show people like, I can create corporate type of artwork, and
Mhm.
it worked. That one contract with City of Toronto turned into like three, and then their neighboring organizations then started reaching out like, hey, can you do it for our panel? Can you do it for our online um, workshop? And from there, I basically found a model that I could duplicate for other artists, to actually put into a workshop on how to monetize their art, how to actually market properly when you have zero budget, and how to
Mhm.
get corporate sponsorships or corporate gigs. So that's that's the speed version of my journey of going from literally yeah, just corporate world, not really having time on my hands, to now like a full-time creative entrepreneur.
That is beautiful. Well, like, very well said. And I think that gives a great picture for the next question that I have, which is, can you tell us about like your biggest breakdown? Like, it could be personal, it might be related to your
Okay.
professional life, um,
Mhm.
that really led to your biggest breakthrough. So this might be a tough one because it's like, you have a lot of
Oh, we're
breakthroughs.
going deep into our soul. Um, no, I think I was actually journaling today, and it had a lot to do with childhood trauma and inner work. Um, Up to the pandemic, like my life was very unstable. I was in and out of shelters, homelessness,
Mhm.
just really like stability in every form. Employed to unemployed and having to navigate. And for me, the pandemic was the first time like in my life I had a time to sit and reset and actually plan my life. Up to that point, everything was survival mode of just like just get by or just get through to the next day. And I realized it was something that was learned through like generations of just like, we don't live, we survive. And that was the first time in my life where I went to therapy, and 2 years of therapy and really unpacking patterns that literally had been passed on for generations was like my aha moment. And the minute I took that time to reset and unlearn and then relearn new programming, in the sense of just how like positive self-talk, manifestation, um, connecting with people, not being afraid to show up in rooms, not self-sabotaging, all these different types of different skill sets. The trajectory of my life went upwards, and I tangibly and actively was participating in like, okay, I want this. Okay, I'm going to do step A, B, C, D, and I'm going to get it done. Till again, I've mastered it where if I see an opportunity and I'm like, you know what, I'm a great fit for that, I'm going for it. I don't even hesitate. I don't second
Mhm.
guess. I don't think like, oh, maybe I'm not prepared or maybe it's not for me. I'm like, you know what? I have the skills just like anybody else applying. I deserve this just like anybody else. And nine
Yes.
times out of 10, yeah, I get a yes every time. And I would say, yeah, my lowest point was actually just like coming to grips with the fact that the emotional and mental skill sets that I learned from family, learned from friends, learned from past relationships was not serving me anymore. And my life was literally at a standstill, like stagnant. And the minute I actively said, you know what, I want to literally empty my cup and fill it up with something new, that's kind of where that breakthrough action kind of came in.
That's beautiful. And especially to hear, there are a lot of people that are listening right now that I'm sure can relate to, the early life that you described. One, childhood trauma. We've had guests come on speaking about
Yeah.
that. And definitely houselessness and homelessness has been a trend as well, not feeling displaced in general. Like you could even have, a bedroom and things like that, but you do not feel at home in that space. So, uh, those are really huge points. And I just wondering for you, what brought you towards some of those skill sets, like being having the confidence to be in those rooms. I say this also because I early on I went towards yoga and meditation, and I was like the
Mhm.
only person like me there. Like there was nobody like me that looked like me, and to keep myself going in those times was a lot of mental work, like to tell myself, this, you got to go, like this is going to help you, this is going to
Yeah.
advance you, this is going to get you where you want to be. But I want to know for you, was there any moment or a piece of advice, maybe a person you met that really helped you like stay in it with learning those skills?
I think it was half and half. I think it was more me. I've always like from since I was young, always had this like blind optimism, I like to call it,
I
where people
like
just like, "Yes, that's crazy," and I'm like, no, let's try, guys.
it. Mhm.
So that's something that I personally I think is just my character trait of just like, I'm not gonna stop until like even if I hear a no, I'm like there has to be another way, and I'll try another route, and I'll try another route until I find the route that gets me to where I want to go. But that's has been something that's for me like been blind optimism, where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna shoot, and it may go in, it may not, but either way, I'm just gonna keep shooting because one has to go in, and
Yes.
that's helped me in many ways of just like at my lowest lows to just keep going, like. And the main thing, I think for me that I took away when I learned in therapy early on, like my second session, was that feelings are temporary, seasons are
Mm,
temporary, but where people get stuck is that they take those temporary feelings and seasons and they draw it out and they blanket their life with it. And they're like, my life sucks, or like, my life is hopeless. When that season that they're in feels like hopelessness, feels like your life is over. But many times, as the universe would have it, like energy shifts. So if you shift your energy, everything in your sphere shifts. And the
Mhm.
minute you come to that understanding that we have to go through hard times, life is not supposed to be easy every day. You're supposed to go through difficult things, but it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. And mastering that and understanding that I actually control my frequency. So things can be happening around me like chaos, but as long as I can have inner peace and control my peace, then I can control anything that I want, basically. But that would be the nugget that I got from my therapist. Literally the second session where I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm so overwhelmed. Like this has been my whole life. And he just like, stop. And I'm just like, oh. And I was gonna go into like offense, like my feelings matter. And a lot of the things that I was feeling was just like my own disappointment with people and being upset, like they didn't follow through. They told me like they were supposed to help me, they're supposed to protect me. And it was dealing with my own disappointment of having people on these pedestals and
Mhm.
those feelings and regulating them. So yeah, like I would say half of it being me with blind optimism and like that nugget that I got in my second therapy session for sure.
Mhm. Amazing, amazing. I hope people are listening right now because Jasmine Swimmer is dropping gems, 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 gems. Like I was in, reverence. I'm like, yes, exactly, exactly. Love it, love it, love it. Because I think that it is all about your mindset. That is what's
Mhm.
going to drive things forward for you. It's going to help you to see things differently when you create a mindset for yourself that allows you to see opportunities instead of roadblocks. Like where others will see struggle and challenge, you see that as an opportunity for you to grow and learn something new. Um, Definitely perspective is the one of the skills. I think it's a skill, like being able to like
Yeah.
manage your
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
And even asking for help also, like,
Mhm.
and having that like you said, having that confidence to go into rooms and even feel worthy that you should be there. I know that was a
Yes.
big thing for me of just like sometimes you are the only person of color or sometimes woman of color in the room and you're like, hey, like you're carrying a load already that people expect you to carry to usher in for all black women. Hold
Yes,
this
you must
space for
answer for them
us.
all when you get there too. Like every question that they ever wanted to know about a black person, I must now
Yes.
answer. I'm like, I came here for yoga. I did not come to talk about my hair. But yeah, that's
Oh my
another
gosh. But
skill.
yeah, yeah.
And being able to still have the confidence to return to those spaces, like to get what you
Yeah.
need to
Yeah,
get from
100%.
yeah.
I
Have you
think for me at first was it was definitely intimidating and I dealt with imposter syndrome.
mm,
And then yeah, switching my mindset of I have something to give these like people in this room. Like I am going into spaces with that mindset of I'm adding value. So my presence here is adding value for everyone here. Like regardless of who's here, whoever I interact with, I know I'll be adding value to them and having that optimism of like I hope people can add value to me really
mhm,
changed that whole dynamic of I'm going in there like scared, like, oh my gosh, and going in there more open of like I have things to offer. Really helped a lot for me to one even keep going, but even in like creative entrepreneurship, even pitching, going to like pitch competitions, applying, going to pitch in front of people, um,
mhm.
having that confidence. Yeah,
Amazing.
but
And my next question kind of leads into the other reason why I wanted you to come on today, which is to talk to us a little bit about being an artist, like making a living off of your art and the ways that you are able to do that. Really diving into the theme of Nuit Blanche this year, which is we're all going to be there. You have another exhibit that you're going to be doing as well and applying to our exhibit, and we hope that you will be there. I have a good feeling about this. But just saying, so I would love to know in your mind or what you're working on now, how are you breaking ground with your art and being able to make a meaningful difference with the work that you're doing?
yeah, I would say for me, I've always been a person to take risks, and I've been an avid researcher for life, where I don't believe there's only one way to do things, and I'm always looking at through the eyes of inclusivity. Um, and when I got into creating digital art, the biggest thing was taboo, where people like, that's not real art. You don't do canvas. You
Mhm.
can't, you are not legit. And yeah, I remember being in some art spaces where, yeah, I was one of the only digital artists, and with a whole bunch of canvas artists, and they're like, yeah, whatever, that's easy. I'm like, it takes about the same amount of time to do what I do. Just it's more convenient because it's all on my iPad
Mhm.
versus having to mix colors from scratch and all that kind of stuff, which takes more, man hours and dedication, you know, chiropractor bills and all that thing and all those things. Um, but yeah, I at the beginning was just kind of proving like, dude, like anyone could do this. And then it grew into more of curiosity, where people were just like, where's this going? And then, Chat GPT came out, AI, NFTs, and people were just like, oh no, artists are making like art through
Mm.
with computer help. This is not real, it's fake. And there was a huge uproar. But when you saw the pieces that people were sitting down hours to master, to code, you're just like, whoa, like, come on, like this looks beautiful,
That's an
even
art
though
form.
AI generated it.
Yeah.
As an
The
art
process
form.
even, it's an art form, like cooking, doing your hair, like,
Mhm.
these are all art forms I think that are not given enough credit. And I do agree, the
Right.
digital art world, people do tend to not give it the same merit. But although I find that I could much easier draw a picture or paint than to sit down and code something. Although I am learning Procreate and I'm getting a little bit good, so
Oh yeah, Procreate. Procreate makes it simple to like
it
just learn.
does.
Yeah, if you're familiar with like Photoshop or Illustrator, Procreate is like basically the same. The sister of, it's like the baby of those two.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, like for me, it was more of like, how can I explore digital art in different forms? And that's when I started to create digital murals and really pitch it to corporations. Like, instead of paying someone to paint 2 walls that are 8 feet tall, it's going to take them 5 to 6 weeks. I can do a digital mock-up and print it to any scale, and it can be up in less than a week. That saves
Ooh.
you time, labor, money, resources, paint. All you have to do is pay the vinyl people to print it and lacquer it, and that's it. And when you're ready to remove it, say your office moves, the building, you sell it, heat adhesive, heat remover, and it just strips off, and then there you go. Your
What?
wall is good, back to normal.
And you can
So
take it
that's
with
how I
you?
was able to monetize.
Can you
Pardon?
take the mural with you? Like, can you travel, like, potentially this digital mural
You
could move,
could. Yeah, you could. You
or
could.
it would need digital
Depending on the
camera.
type of like adhesive you use, yeah, and the wall, like if it's too like exposed brick, or like depending on the
Mm,
wall surface, but you can actually take the vinyls and then like reuse them basically, and
that
take the
is
mural somewhere else. So
genius.
yeah,
Genius.
so that's how
I
I monetize. That's how I monetize things, because people are just like, oh, I never heard of this. All we know is like graphic artists or canvas artists, and usually those productions take a couple thousand, and it's in a span of like 4 to 5 weeks, because they
mm,
have to cover huge walls. And yeah, when I pitched it to a few organizations, that's how I started to monetize and really go from like, oh, I'm just like tinkering, making art, and really working with corporations that were like, oh, we're doing a mass scale this, we're doing art
mm,
for a PR pop up. We'd love to have this on the wall. Um, and essentially, that was one of the ways I monetized my artwork on big scales. And City of Toronto was one of the biggest clients I had. And even my work now lives like on some walls and some frames across all 15 of their Toronto Community Services offices across the GTA. So like that, even for me, for that was like, whoa, I made it! Wow, cool!
yeah.
I could go in and see things. But I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to keep exploring and things of that nature, and that's when I started to get into coding generative AI to actually create artwork. And so all the things that I didn't see of
Mm,
Black people, I
yeah.
created it.
If you could just break it, because I'm sure there's some people listening right
Oh
now,
yeah.
we're streaming to 135 countries on the radio, and also
Oh,
3 platforms online that are seeing us live. And so we're listening to Jasmine Swimmer and myself, Elle de Leon, and we're talking about Jasmine's art. She's a digital artist, and you broke down, you just said a term that I know a little bit about, but I would love for you to
Okay.
break it down, because this is genius stuff that's happening, I think.
So generative AI is basically any type of tool that uses some sort of programming to basically tell AI technology or artificial intelligence what to do.
Wow.
So some of us obviously don't have a background in IT or like complicated coding, but these new types of generative AIs, I don't know if you guys haven't seen it, like resume AI, video AI, where basically you're inputting words or you're inputting text or inputting voice, and AI then generates whatever you tell it to generate. And then
Yeah.
there's higher levels of it where if you want to make a movie, if you want to take videos and turn them into graphics, so it gets really like complex. But on the face of the surface of it, generative AI is very broad, and it could mean like from doing artwork to, like I said, doing a resume or even making a whole song using generative AI and telling it what to do. So
Mhm.
yeah, I started to explore that and explore augmented reality and virtual realities, where it's basically making a virtual world that people can access digitally. Like the perfect example is like Pokemon Go, when it was
Mhm.
like the biggest thing, and you downloaded the app, and then you went to go search for Pokemons, and you'd have to scan certain areas. You would see it on the map, and you'd have to go there and scan, and you'd see like a Pikachu or something pop up, and you're like, oh, and then you have to go
Charmander!
grab whatever. Yeah, so it's basically that was augmented reality and also virtual reality as well, where people are literally riding into rivers trying to catch Pokemons because they were not cognizant of the barriers where they were, because we're so engulfed in this reality and wanting to play this game. So
Mhm.
now it's really, going leaps and bounds where people are like using cool ways to use AI in finance and agriculture and music, where AI can be told to make a beat that pulls examples from of your favorite songs and create something new for you. So yeah, I explored that with art, and I started to create black art that I didn't see. And the
Mhm.
major thing my inspiration just for one collection I made was called Black Fairies. I went to a small pop up at the library. It was an art pop up, and it was about fairies. And I went through it. I'm like, wow, this is so cute. This is amazing. And it's all these fictional characters, fairies. And as I'm looking at the pictures and the books, there are no fairies of color.
I bet.
I'm like, so fairies don't come in different shades and different hair textures. So then it gave me an idea. I'm like, what if I could generate just like a whole tribe of different um, fairies that are black, and give them differentiate them based on flowers. And
Mm.
so I made a whole collection just based on creating black fairies, telling AI to code what I wanted them to look like, from their hair to their nose to their skin color, to even their attributes, and created a whole collection of black fairies. Up to this point didn't exist
Mhm.
until I created it. So
And
removing
now
those barriers,
you can find the blackberry with Google.
now
Like,
you can find a
honestly,
black fairy.
this is like ground. That's why I really do believe, I know it sounds so small to some people, but this is like really breaking ground, because if you go on right now on Google, I
Yeah.
search for so many images. Like in my work, I do film production, and we have to make
Mhm.
up storyboards and stuff like that. And you're looking for these stock images that exist for
Mhm.
every other, like, or at least a predominant race, and
Yeah.
not for you. So just like you said, it feels like, oh, that means black girls can't be fairies. Like,
Mm.
just right there, like you just get told, because the internet is so influential. So the work that you're doing, you're adding to those stock images, like those data banks now, like there will be little girls and bigger people who can find themselves represented
Oh
online
yeah,
with,
100%.
I love this.
100%. And I think for me, like outside of like, exploring and things, it was mostly to make things accessible. I knew so much people with creative ideas or notions, and like, oh, I wonder what this would look like, but not understanding that they can create what they're thinking. They just need some help. And that then turned into a workshop for me that I did monetize, to actually teach people how to create what's in their head or what they were thinking about, and use different types of generative AI to create what they've always thought about or always dreamt about. And that's where I feel like a lot of Black tech entrepreneurs that are also creative entrepreneurs are kind of taking charge and kind of leading the way, because we're
Mm.
just creating some crazy stuff.
Yes, I am here for it. Please tell me when the next workshop is because I would definitely want to be there. And actually, if we've been talking a little bit about Nuit Blanche and saying that we're having this
Yes.
groundbreaking exhibit where we're going to showcase. By the end of it, we really hope that we're in like, the high 50s, 60s about the number of artists that we will be coming through our space and exhibiting
Okay.
or performing, and looking forward to you being one of them. And we were kind of talking a little bit about, making things more immersive, having more activations that really engage people in the art. And I love what you're saying about the fact that there are ways that we can create what we're thinking. Like what we're thinking in our
Mhm.
head can actually be visualized. And I'd love to know, that was my little hint for people who are listening out there, that there will be immersive live demonstrations at this exhibit that we're having. But I'd love to know from you, Jasmine, like where is the next thing? Like where can someone find you and connect with you on getting what's out of their head, like onto the screen?
Yeah, so like you said, Elle, so Nuit Blanche, I guess it's my official announcement that I'll be showcasing at Nuit Blanche, and I'm super excited. My one of the exhibits that I'm doing is really focusing on just Black lives, Black hair care, music, vibes, and mixing that with space and virtual reality. So it's going to be an interesting meshing
And
that I'm
virtual
still,
reality. I
I'm
love
still
that.
um, finalizing all of that. But essentially, it's going to be an immersive experience. Most likely, have the immersive will be located downtown. The installation, sorry, will be downtown Toronto. So you can look up for that in Nuit Blanche. And yeah, outside of that, a lot more workshops on exactly what I spoke about, of different ways that you can learn how to create your own ideas, how to generate it, how to code, and also how to, yeah, create from anything from film to a song to your own art piece. So like those workshops will be rolled out in September. We're hoping
Yeah.
to, yeah, bring that to the TDSB, bring it to some universities, but in general, yeah, starting out with just me hosting these type of events, and yeah, partnering with amazing organizations and their communities. So yeah, you can always find me on social media at Jasmine underscore swimmer. Um, and yeah, just follow. I guess I post like everything that I do, and from talks to workshops. And yeah, my website is going to be up soon. So that is like the most up to date of where I'm at and what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But yeah, those workshops will be rolled out. But the key thing is Nuit Blanche in Toronto, September, I believe is 23rd or 26th. One of those days. um,
23rd.
23rd, yes. September 23rd in Toronto. And yeah, 12 hours of just, yeah, just going around the city and really immersing yourself with great art. And I hope, yeah, you stop by, Madewell partnership, as well
Mm.
as my partnership with Artscape. And yeah, that's really what it is. We're hoping to have another immersive experience. So hopefully, yeah, we could pitch that to Madewell and their amazing exhibit, and hopefully we can do that
Yes.
there. But yeah, that's really what's coming up in the next few months.
Amazing, amazing. And I know you do like some things outside of, I saw the time because I made sure I won't go over, but I do have two more questions for you before you head out of here. I did want to
Okay,
know, like, I know some things about you that I think are really, really cool, such as the
okay,
fact that you are a serial entrepreneur. Like you have more, you have multiple businesses. And so I'd love to give you some space and time because I love amplifying and putting people on. That's why I get up in the morning. And I'd love for you to let us know about, some of those other businesses, any ones that you would like to put some highlight and shine on, for our people out there.
Ooh. Well, I know what's most present, what's most coming up in this weekend, actually. The branded event pitch, I would be one of the judges. Basically, we're voting for we're judging 5 Black entrepreneurs and their businesses, and I think this prize pot is close to 23,000. And yeah, it's just a great way to give back, and it's a full circle moment because I won this pitch last year, so it's a full circle moment to be able to be in that seat to help someone else fund their new passion. And the second event that I'm doing this weekend is with Meta and the city of Brampton and their arts program, which really focuses on the same thing we're talking about, AI technology, and how music artists and people that do like R&B, hip hop, and all these type of stuff can monetize their music through NFTs and different kind of AI technology. So same type of thing we're talking about. But outside of that, I am a serial entrepreneur. I do have a whole nother business in skincare. And it's funny because it's like I'm juggling all the time, but I never seem to drop any balls. So with the skincare brand, we are so excited to announce our newest partnership as of today with Shopify New York. And we're part of this amazing cohort of women, and they're really pushing and amplifying us to get into brick and mortars in New York and across the US. So yeah, as of September, myself and a few other entrepreneurs from Toronto will be heading to New York to showcase our skincare, our brands to buyers and different owners in the States, and really expand our market, because Canada's a market, but we know the US market is definitely significantly higher than ours. So it really gives us a lot of market opportunity, basically. But yeah, that's what's new on my end, and I'm so appreciative to have a space to plug plug all my plugs in.
And if you
but yeah,
one gem before you leave, because you did mention that you're a new mom, and hearing about all of these great things that you have. Obviously, you're a mom on the go. Millennials is really our target audience, and who really is out there listening, but of course people who interact with them. And we are getting older. A lot of us are parents, some of them already have teenagers and stuff like that. So that being said, I'd love to know how you do it. Like, what's your biggest tip for, a new millennial parent who is like wanting to still be involved in all of these things? They want to go to New York and show their products so they can, make a way for their family, build generational wealth. Like, what is the one thing that you would say, if you could let the new millennial parents out there know how they can do it all? How can they keep the balls in the air?
Well, like my little one will be 3 in October, so I definitely was like, I gotta do this. Like I have no choice, and it was a lot of juggling for me. It was a lot of favors, friends, family. Like I gotta go here, have to fly here. Like last year, I flew to Ghana, and for again to amplify and really go for my brand. So it was a lot of community that supported me. But even now, to keep things going, more so it's a lot of the connections and community that I've made doing programs, friends, and just organizations that I previously worked with that helped me with resources where I could like get childcare, or I could have certain things subsidized or paid for on my behalf, which took a lot of stress off of me. That one less thing I had to worry about. But for any young parents on their millennial parents, my one tidbit of advice would be like, your calendar is your best friend. And even if you can't take all the opportunities, like it would look like I take every opportunity because I'm always like, but the truth is I've had to say no. I've had to look at the date timeline and be like, okay, I can't take this opportunity. So for every 5 opportunities I passed on, I applied for 2 or 3, and I do what I can. And now that I've mastered my balance of time, childcare, and all that great stuff, now I can actually take on and apply to those 5 opportunities. But it's definitely a process. But I would say start with one. Start with one opportunity, apply, see what happens, and then go for there. Build on that, take another opportunity. And I can't stress enough, do programming, guys. Build your network. For people that don't have LinkedIn today, make a LinkedIn, because your community and your network is your net worth. So if you don't have anyone that's vouching for you that can call your name in rooms where you're not, it's really difficult to build what you're trying to do. So I'm grateful for everyone that's called my name. Even Elle herself
Yes.
has
I call
called
them
and said my name in rooms where I wasn't even there, and I ended up getting hired or getting referred. So that's just to show you how deep I'm making connections with people in different tiers of life. Because they remember you sometime later down the road, and they're like, "Oh, hey, can you do this?" So that would be my tidbit of advice for anyone listening out there.
Yeah, and I love that you ended it there because I do really want to stress another point that you made, which is
Mhm.
showing up for programming, showing up for community, understanding that it's an ecosystem. So, like what you give in, you will get out. And the more you give in, the more you will get out. And it might not be all in like a perfect order. Like, as you were saying, you're going to pass
100%.
on some opportunities, you're going to pass on some things that you're like, oh my God, was that for me? But what is for you shall never pass you. That's one thing that I've heard and that I live by too. And I
100%.
love that you really do show up for community. Like you not only show up for, yes, if somebody wants to pay you for something, but you show up to share your knowledge with people, to impart, all of these gems that you've got. You are sharing them, making sure the path is smooth for the next generation.
Yeah.
And I really think that I just want to, say that and stress that because I really think that's the way forward. And I love bringing on guests who are that example because more of us being that, I believe, will get some, big changes happening. And I'm
Oh,
seeing those changes. Like this year, being involved with Nuit Blanche, I used to go to Nuit Blanche, like, and just look at everyone's
me
art.
too.
And I would never ever think that I could ever be involved.
Mhm.
I don't know, but somewhere in the back of my mind, there was a voice, a small voice that's like, I wonder how you do that. Like, I wonder how you get up on the wall or
How you
like
get in
help.
there? Yeah.
Yeah. And now we are
I,
here.
I
And
had I had the same voice. I had the same voice.
right? And so if you have that voice out there, really what I'm saying, if you're listening right now to us here on Love Bay, online Afro beat music talk radio, if you're out there listening right now, I really want you to listen to that small voice. I think it's your inner child that's wanting to come
Yeah.
out and play. They didn't get enough time in the sunshine when they were children. They probably had to grow up really early.
Really
And
fast.
now, right? So now they are having time to be like, as you were saying, during the pandemic was a time for me too, a big shift where I finally was like, I
Mhm.
want to do what I want to do. Like,
I want to do,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think it was my inner
You're like, let
child.
me reset the button on my
Yes.
life right now.
It felt like the biggest reset. I actually was very grateful. Things were going very
That's
fast
fun.
and just like not exactly in the direction that I wanted. And now I
Mhm.
feel, things are going where where they're going. I'm on the journey and that's the destination.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with it. Really grateful. And I'm really grateful that you came through and dropped all of this knowledge on us, and told us where we can find you. Um, Maybe one more time before you leave, where's the best place to connect with Jasmine Swimmer?
Yeah, well, like I said, you could Google my name. I'm the only swimmer out there besides like an Olympic swimmer in the US. So there's only 2 of us. But yeah, whether it be on Instagram, where it's my up to date like schedule. My website is coming up soon, which would also have all my up to date like where I'll be, what I'm doing. If you want to have a one on one, or even if I'm doing a free drop in your community, you can always drop in. Like at the branded event this weekend,
Mm.
just giving away about like 6 hours of my time to anyone that wants to drop in. So things like that, you can find me at Jasmine_swimmer on Instagram. And yeah, look forward to connecting with you all.
Yes, big, big blessings. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for coming through to Voices of the Millennials, having an elevated conversation with me all about your breakdowns, your breakthroughs, and everything that's happening with you now. I'm wishing you the most success. I look forward to being in more rooms with your
Thank
art,
you.
seeing your art on big buildings, and possibly learning how to do it as well. We shall chat.
Yes. Yes.
More black fairies,
Thank you
more.
so much.
Come on, come on.
More, yes.
Let's
More
go.
of us, 100%.
Exactly. I love it. Thank you so much for coming through. Peace and love. We will chat soon. And you can just disconnect from our live stream. Bye, Jasmine. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate y'all. You don't understand how it just warms my heart every time to be able to have this. I really call this an appointment that I've been given to be the host of Voices of the Millennials, because I do take this as a big responsibility for me to really curate the conversations that we are having, selecting guests that I really feel will help to inspire you to listen to that little voice in the back of your mind, in the back of your head, the one in deep down in your soul that's saying, I want to do what I want to do. And I'm going to say that with a grain of salt, because of course, what you want to do could impede other people. It might stop them from doing what they want to do. You might not be able to come through for them the way that you have been. So you definitely need to assess these things. Today, we heard some ways that we can do that. I think that speaking to someone who's a professional, like a therapist, even somebody in a field, a mentor, somebody that can help to give you perspective on the decisions that you want to make in being able to do what you want to do. And I really encourage people to be able to live their life to its fullest potential, to be able to take something and take nothing and make it into something, truly applying the laws of alchemy is really what I say, because it really is about the way that you look at things that will help you to figure out, can you get that thing done or not? You know, are you going to be able to make a way where it doesn't look like a way can be found? And I really do believe that's why I love to really focus in on the breakdowns, and leading them into the breakthroughs, because the stories that we hear from all of these millennials and the people who interact and love them, there's a running theme that seems to, keep up. And I'm really, really glad that it is. And that theme is, I put this meme actually on my Facebook. Does anyone still use Facebook? You do, because you're listening right now to us on Facebook. Hi, Facebook. So that being said, on Facebook, I had this thing that said, I want to see what happens if I don't give up. It was a quote that was in one of my workplaces. And it was when I was working in an office, and I loved that I got to help the community, but I just didn't really enjoy the office vibes. And even the individuals that I worked with, again, they didn't look like me. It felt truly highly uncomfortable to be there every day. And just like, as I said, just microaggressions all over the place, answering questions about things that I didn't come to work to talk about. And it was really tough. It was really, really tough to navigate those spaces. I'm really glad that I'm in a space now where, one, I get to work mainly remotely, running my own business and working with these organizations and helping them to elevate their platforms is my job now. And I get to elevate platforms of people that represent me. So I know that by working with these individuals, I'm creating a better world for my children. I'm creating a better world for the little girls that are right now wondering, where are they on the screen? Today, I'll stop, or I'll share this last piece of, you know, a story, an anecdote. So today, my niece, uh, she finally clued in that her auntie is a host on these platforms on YouTube. They really, really love YouTube, her and her brothers. And so seeing someone that they know, that they actually know, on a platform like that and spreading positivity, talking about things that are interesting and maybe not so interesting to them yet, because I'm not a video game, but she was so highly impressed. And I just saw the look in her eyes when she said it to me at least 10 times. Like, we were looking at some of my videos today, and I was just deciding, what clips to um highlight, because there's so much good content that we have been able to gather in the last, this is the 8th episode that I've been on, the 10th episode since I've been on. And thank you to those who filled in for me while I was on vacay. But all of that to say that I realized today, again, rediscovered, it's like a constant rediscovery on this journey that is called life, where I really have a moment where I get to take in what it is that I have been, my purpose, and why it's so important for me to not listen to, the voices in your head that might be saying you're not good enough or you don't belong there, or even taking in those microaggressions from those people in the office. Because I'm not telling you to go and quit your office job right now. Again, make decisions based on, getting perspective, and really inform yourself of the options that you have before moving, is what, that's my advice. That being said, do what you will, because it's a free world. Up to a certain point, there are consequences. That all to say that it's really important for me to continue to do this work and continue to bring you content and curated conversations where you will be able to see yourself in those conversations and see a path for you being able to achieve the dreams that you have in your mind. That little voice inside of your head that's saying, go and do that thing. Please go and do that thing. Please don't give up on yourself, because I promise you that when you don't give up on yourself, big things can happen. I am a testament to that. I didn't give up on myself ever since I put that up, I think about 18 months ago. I told myself, I want to do what I want to do. I'm going for the things that I want. And being a host was a big, big one, on a podcast, on a talk show, and I'm doing both of them. So I am saying this to you because I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to go over after those big dreams that you have. And I can't really stress it enough. And what I'm going to do to make sure that you don't give up on yourself is continue to bring you curated conversations, elevated conversations, where we talk about the breakdowns and the breakthroughs. And for now, until leading up to the big day of our big Nuit Blanche exhibit in Toronto at Dawn on the Dance Floor, we will be highlighting those artists that are going to be a part of the exhibit, the ones that are applying, the ones that are interested. We're going to be taking their stories, putting them here for you so you can get elevated with me, your host, Elle de Lyon, aka Elle the Lion, and you're listening to me live right now on Voices of the Millennials, right here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We are online, we are everywhere. And I will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. with another elevated conversation. Peace and love, y'all. See you next time.